Good morning, everyone. Every now and then I decide I'm going to do a quilt block, and one that I feel a beginner could build on their skills. So today I'm choosing to do one that a sewing group is doing as a block of the month, and it's called the Arrowhead block. So essentially what we're doing is we're taking two pieces of fabric that are 17 inches square, and you're sandwiching them right sides together. So in this case, it's a darker green and a batik green. And then what we're going to do is draw a line corner to corner. And then you're going to sew on both sides of a 1/4 inch, and that's going to make 2 HSTs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this, sew a 1/4 inch on either side, slice it down the center, and then I'll be right back. I wanted to just add, if you haven't done HSTs before, one thing that I find is helpful is I do draw the center line. That's my reference line from corner to corner. Then I do draw a 1/4 inch on either side, and that way I can follow it more closely on my sewing machine, make sure I'm okay. The secret to sewing this is to go a little bit skinnier than the 1/4 inch. So as you're going, it's like one needle in, and that's called a scant 1/4 inch, and that'll give you extra room for cutting. Also, because we're sewing on the bias and cutting on the bias, this will end up being a little bit stretchy. So this is a really good time to pin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin on both sides, evenly spread out. And because this is such a big piece of fabric we're working with, I actually have a weight just so the fabric won't move around on me. So I'm just going to do one side, then I'll twist it around, draw the other, pin it, and then I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew it. Okay, I've made the two seams. I've cut it in the center, and now what we have are two huge half square triangles. What we'll do next is we'll actually press the seam to the dark side, and then once that is done, we're going to do right sides together. But what you're going to do is you're going to match the darker against the lighter on both sides. This isn't lined up perfectly right now, but I'm just showing you how it works. So once the seams are pressed, you're going to have this lighter against the darker, and then on this half the darker against the lighter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this, and we're going to do what we did before, and we're going to draw from corner to corner, stitch a 1/4 inch on each side, and slice that. And what you'll end up with are two what you call hourglass blocks. So I will just do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've sewn two seams down the center, and then I'm just going to quickly show you what this looks like. So when it's opened up, we have our what you call an hourglass. So what we do now is we cut these apart in the center between these two lines, and then we'll press these open. And then we have the scary part of being able, or we have to cut these apart again. I have to tell you, I haven't made this block before, so I'm kind of doing this my first time as well. I also want to note that I'm doing a 17 inch because that is what our group is calling for. You can actually do this any size you want. So you could do a 12-inch square, 8, whatever you want. Just keep in mind that with each cut, it does get smaller and smaller. So just keep that in mind, because 17 inches is a really, really big block to start with. Okay, we have our 2 hourglass blocks, and what we need to do is to make sure when you place them on your cutting mat, you have a dark one facing this way and you have a light one facing this way. And what you do is you take 1 block at a time and you line up your ruler. So I'm going to do the dark facing up first. 2 inches, turn this around so it reads right, from the center mark, going from left down to right towards you. So once this is lined up on our seam, we're going to cut that. And then we're going to flip this around. And we're going to cut this as well, 2 inches off that center seam. And you know you've got it right when the dark is still facing to the top. Okay, so that's that one. So I'm going to just place this over here. And just to repeat that, we're going to do it on the second one, and the only difference is this has the lighter one facing on the top. I'm saying lighter and darker because those are my fabric choices. You just need to know what reference you're using. So again, this isn't perfect, but okay, so 2 inches. And notice I'm putting my pinky on the side of the ruler, and that kind of stabilizes it so that it doesn't move. There's times where I actually put a weight down on the ruler as well to help me. So again, 2 inches from corner to corner. And I know it's right because I have the light facing up. So again, cut that evenly, and that's that one done. So now what we're going to do is the one we just cut, we're going to put light to light. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to swap the center blocks or the center cut strip. So we're going to take this one from the light one and place it over there. And then we're going to take this dark one, we're going to place it here, and we're going to sew those together. So that's one. And then the other block that had the dark facing on the top is now going to have the light, and it's going to be like this. So you know it's right when you've got opposites against each other. So here and here, and then the other two, and then we'll press them and I'll be right back. Okay, here are the 2 blocks with the first round done. So the dark is on the top on this one. The light is on the top on this one. So this is the last round of cutting and sewing. So what we're going to do is what we did before is line up a ruler on the center seam where the sections have not been cut before. So for just ease for me, I'm going to turn it this way because I am right-handed. I am going to take one off, so I'm only doing one at a time. And again, we're going to cut 2 inches. Lining up on the center seam as best you can. The benefit of pressing all the seams open is they do tend to lock a lot easier when you're putting them back together again. Okay, so there's one. So I'm going to flip this again because I'm right-handed. There's my center seam, 2 inches over. Cut. So I'll just set those aside. Grab the other one. And again, 2 inches. You will notice on a couple of the edges that they're no longer even. That's only because the fabric is starting to shrink up as you sew. See down here, there's a gap. And how you will correct that is once you've got all your blocks done, then you will square it up to the smallest one. I don't know a lot of sewers or quilters who can get every single block identical out of the gate. Maybe that comes with experience. I'm usually off by a little bit, so I always have to trim them. So again, my pinky's down and trimming. Those are apart. So now I will take the light one. So light top and bottom, and I will take the center from the other block and place it like this. And this is what the final block is going to look like. So you know you've got it right when you've got opposite colors and you have this nice 4 patch in the center. So I will sew those together, and just to show you what the other one will look like, it's going to be the opposite. I can see this being really nice as a scrappy quilt. Like if you mix darks and lights together, it would make it really interesting. And you, as I said, if you picked a smaller size, your finished block would be a lot smaller, but it would look beautiful, all scrappy. So I'm just going to sew these up, and then I'll be right back for the final reveal. Okay, both are done. Again, this is called the Arrowhead block. They finish up to be about 14¼ inches by the time you're all said and done, because see, every time you join new cuts, it shrinks it down. So keep that in mind when you're deciding what size to make. Both are identical. This is a very good beginner skill building block, because you do an HST, you do an hourglass, and then you have to practice intersecting as you go along. You develop this nice 4 patch in the center, and it teaches you how to sew accurately on the bias. So good pressing skills, good cutting skills. Give it a try. I think you'll be happy. Love to hear from you. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Until next time, sew with Debbie.